out front. I got a contact by email. Apparently someone's trying to set up a video meeting between I and Kevin O'Connor, who's the guy who's apparently trying to head up the county's version of a broadband mission. He hasn't gotten back to me with a time and a date yet. I will keep you posted. Keep you posted on that. One of the things I'm going to propose to him is that he come to one of these meetings and talk about what they're doing. We can talk about what we're doing. I did tell him that we have a date for our first report of mid-June, that we're working toward that now. So I'm just intrigued to see what their vision is versus how ours might fit in with theirs. I have a feeling we're ahead of the curve because I know the county didn't start its initiative until much later than we did. So we'll see what happens with it. Beyond that, just want to get into Jeff, Caitlin, and I met briefly this past week. Just discussed nuts and bolts moving ahead. Jeff, do you want to speak a little bit about how we propose to just verify the team layouts, move as we go ahead?
Yeah, thanks, Craig. So we will reach out and just do a check-in with the folks who were designated, or we believe were designated as team leads, to just confirm and also confirm that they would like to continue serving in that capacity. And Dale, I know you shared a very nice looking chart that kind of had everything laid out. So we'll go off that and hopefully update and move on from there. And as part of that, and Craig, stop me if I'm jumping ahead too much, but as part of reaching out, we will also just be checking in to see an update on the working group's report and when they might be able to, or might feel comfortable presenting to the larger group, so we can start to move towards getting a draft in place of that final report.
Great. Yeah, I know that tonight, Diana and Martin both felt that they could present a little bit about where their teams are at. I'm not expecting like a draft of your part at this point, but just where you're at, and what questions that you might have that you want additional feedback from the full group on. We'll get to that in just a minute. The other thing which we're doing, and Caitlin, I apologize. I saw the email from you with a draft of the old agenda that we use to have for these meetings. It looks fine. That's exactly the kind of framework that I was talking about. That's the other thing that we're going to do is we'll try and get a meeting agenda out at least a week ahead of the meeting. It's very basic layout. If there are any specific proposals that are going to be brought up, status updates. If we're going to have people coming in to fill us in on different questions that we had as a group, that's where you'd see it. So that step is in place. Beyond that, are there any questions? Oh, the other thing is, I don't see Owusu online. I just wanted to find out from him if he'd heard anything more from council leadership about getting us additional bodies. If he joins, we can ask him that then. If not, I'll follow up with him post this meeting and just give him a poke. Because I have a feeling that we're going to get to the stage where we could use some extra hands. Beyond that, are there any questions from the group at this point about anything at all? No? Okay. Diana and Martin, I'm not sure who would prefer to go first. Diana, do you want to start? Martin, do you want to start? Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I can go ahead. Or you can go ahead, Martin, whatever you want to do, buddy.
Okay, that's fine with me. So basically, we had set like kind of like an internal like deadline to get our drafts in by Monday. I haven't checked on that yet due to like basically various like work commitments and stuff, but I definitely do, plan on, checking in with everyone in the group to basically see where they are with that. I know I've uploaded a initial draft on like the on the Google Drive for our group, and basically my hope is that we're able to, once I, see everyone on our team's, initial draft of what, they were going to look up. We had divided it into 3 general topics. Basically, Diana was to look up basically, any sort of like initial development funding needed to, get started with, to set up a municipal internet service. Josh was to look at, potential, financing, and I was looking up operating cost and operating revenues to support the operation. So basically, I think once we get together and stuff, and I have a look at at everyone's draft, I'm hoping that I will be able to shortly have a formal draft of what the finance group had came up with, and to seek any comments from the from the leaders of this commission. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thanks, Martin. I don't know if we lost Craig.
Sorry, no, I'm back. Sorry, had a small tech glitch. I am back. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Martin, thanks for the presentation. The only thing I'd say is, if you do hear back from the rest of your team, hopefully in the next couple days, just drop a line to myself, Jeff, and Caitlin, so we can alert the rest of the group to look for the updated draft. But it sounds like you're making good progress. I mean, I know from talking to you before that you're making pretty good progress. The other thing to consider, and this isn't just for your team, it's for any of the teams. If in the course of your discussions and drafts, you think of additional questions that you want to throw out to see if anyone in the full group can help research, don't wait till the next meeting to do that. Send those questions out. Send those questions to us, and we'll get that out to the full group as well. Because I prefer to keep the ball rolling to the greatest extent that we can, especially as we get closer to the June date. All right. Okay, Martin, again, thank you. Diana, if you want to update us.
Sure. Since the last general meeting, the Ideal Model Working Group, Jeff, Martin, Craig, and myself has met again. The discussion was very productive, and we were able to share suggested resources. I have shared several map graphics and other documents from the group to the commission's shared drive. The most important component we deliberated on was rights of way, and I'm looking to seek some input from some of the other working groups about that, if there was any other research done on that, because essentially building a network that supports reliable performance, links to multiple systems, and has an integration of current and next generation technologies, which is something I've been monitoring, and hopefully we can implement that as part of our network. It really involves careful planning and execution. The process of building and deploying our proposed broad broadband network is multifold. It takes a loving and caring village. There is no single solution. Decisions are dependent upon like multiple factors, such as, like the mission goals, the objectives of the partnerships. That is something I would like to hear a little bit more about from some of the other groups, about any like possible pending partnerships. Besides the partnerships, like the capabilities of the in-place infrastructure that's already here in the city of Albany, as well as like application security and performance requirements. And as recommended by Craig, we are planning to reach out to the office of the Albany Corporation Council and to the Department of Planning and Development, because existing regulations will affect our proposed network architecture. Other topics that was discussed was like the various subscription tiers, such as residential and business. I know Greg mentioned a few examples, and also the formation of service level agreements to those customers. Now, Craig, like in our last working group meeting, you recommended that I reach out to another group concerning like the SLAs. I failed to actually break that down.
The service level agreement.
Yeah, the SLA.
Trying to think. It doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I know.
It's not that I won't think of it. I can't think of it right this second. I know it's internal. Let me see what I can find. The other resource that I suggested to you was to reach out to the Center for Technology in Government at SUNY.
Oh yeah, you Albany? Okay.
Right, because they're actually wrapping up a pretty extensive research project on broadband initiatives at the local government level.
Okay.
So they may be able to share some of their research.
Mm-hmm.
I am planning to reach out to them as well. I've got to call in to the research director to see if we can access some of those resources.
Oh, good.
Like staff resources. To partner with us as we get into those details at greater length. The only other thing I'd say is, while we have Jess here, Jess, can you get us or see if there is a preferred point of contact for both Corp Council and City Planning? I believe we have one for Corp Council. I'm not sure about the City Planning Department.
Yeah, so Corp Council is actually Racy. He's actually on the call right now.
Great.
And I can I'll contact planning to see whose email or phone number I should give out.
Great. So Day, I'd say if you can coordinate with Racy, and he might be able to help out with that, and then we'll see what we get from planning. Okay. The other person we might want to loop in on that might be Dave Gallen. See if he could point us to people, because what I'm interested in are existing service level agreements that the city has built into contracts that it has for services, and that might be able to provide some guidance as well.
Okay.
I know service level agreements were initially part of the cable contract discussions, but I'm not sure if they made it into the final agreement. So, thing to think about.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. That said, what I'd say with both of these presentations is, and I'm just as guilty as anyone else because I get caught up doing things with work and home and everything else. We should make an effort to really go out and look what's been put out on the shared drive before the next meeting, so that we can think of any questions that we might have. If you do have specific questions for the teams that you'd like to raise based on what you read, my suggestion is that you send them to the team lead and CC Caitlin, Jeff, and myself, so that we can sort of build them into the next meeting agenda, and at the same time give the teams time to respond to the questions in advance of these meetings. That's true for any of us. I can speak that the benchmarking team does still have to meet, which we will be doing the early part of this next week, I hope. I don't see Ed on the call. I do see Josh. So I will set up that immediately after this meeting with you both. Jeff, I know you were doing, was it Jeff was doing partnerships? Jeff, you there?
Yeah, I believe that's Caitlin, myself, and Ed, and we're working on scheduling, or is that that's the legal legislative, but
There's
we're working on
two.
scheduling. But yeah, so we'll Caitlin and I will circle back on the partnerships and
Great.
get a group meeting scheduled.
Okay. CC me on that because I'd be intrigued just to attend and listen to what's going on. That will be good. Particularly, that's something that, depending on how things go with the meeting with Kevin O'Connor, we might be able to pick his brain a little bit for some leads on that as well. So because it makes sense that if both the county and we are chewing a lot of the same ground, it makes sense to do it as a coordinated attempt. I think that's all I have. Caitlin, did you want to speak about the legislative team at all, or is there? I mean, the legal team. I'm sorry. Is there any update?
Yeah. Update is I'm soliciting an additional member if anyone would like to join and be part of our legal and legislation team. If not, I think Jeff and I will be it. Not that we're not more than sufficient, but we'll be meeting in the near future to go over some material I have from an outline. And Diana, one of the things you mentioned, like rights of way, if there are legal topics that come up that you feel that, your friends over here in the legal and legislation working group might want to add, happy to take them. I have the feeling that just based on what's going to come up for other working groups, especially financing too, this might, if you need to punt a little bit over here, we're happy to take that. So I anticipate we'll be meeting in the next week.
Perfect. Okay. The other thing which I haven't told just yet, because we're sort of right now, it looks like we're meeting this week and next week, and that was not the plan. Just so the people know, so they have time to get things done. Jess, I say cancel next week's meeting, and then we'll be back on track for meeting every 2 weeks from there on out. That would be the quickest and cleanest way of doing it, if that makes sense to you.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay. Righty. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up at this time?
So I just want to double check.
Yep.
So for our, I guess it will vary group by group, kind of how we want to do it, but are we thinking of uploading for, for whatever we're working on, our pieces, we're going to upload them to the shared drive, and then should we kind of put together a draft and email it out to everyone, or just be like, hey, this is on the shared drive, everyone, like if you want to go look at it?
I think right now we'll put to the share drive. The goal is to have a draft that'll be on the share drive. We have a narrative, and definitely we'll share it to the full group as well. Sort of like an alert email saying, hey, we put this out there. We'd really appreciate feedback before the next meeting, if you can do it, and then set a date. If the meeting is 10 days from now, if you want to allow 5 days, if you can get back to us by this date, that would be great. That's the process that I'd suggest. Again, you want time to both look at what the feedback is and then respond to any questions, so that once we get here, you're really ready to go. We're all ready to go, and then we're only dealing with questions and concerns that come up based on what we hear here in this setting. The other thing to think about is when we get closer to that point, and I want people to start to think that way, we will start to build a PowerPoint presentation for sharing related to the first draft report that we provide. I talked to Jeff and Caitlin a little bit about this. One of the things we're thinking is at some point we're going to need to outreach to the community itself. Certainly we have a responsibility to respond to the Common Council first. So likely most of the community feedback or focus group sessions would be between the first and second draft of the report. But it doesn't hurt to start building those materials now and start to think about where we want to hold those sessions to maximize the feedback and support from the people we're proposing to build this for. I would suggest a session with the Common Council, itself. Then, of course, sessions in the respective parts of the city. We can talk about that at greater length as we get closer. But we'll start to think about how we want those presentations to go and make sure that people are comfortable making that type of presentation for their part of the report. You're doing the work. You're going to be the best people to deal with questions and respond to what's said in that part of the report. If anyone doesn't feel like doing that, let us know, and we'll find a way and we'll find a person who is willing to do it. But just some thoughts on that. All right, Josh, does that take care of your question, or?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. Okay. Are there any questions from anyone else? Nothing. Okay. Again, my apologies for being 9 minutes late. It was not on purpose, and I'm smacking myself for it because I take that very seriously. Hopefully, we will hear about getting some additional bodies. Caitlin, I'll see if I can help drum someone up for the legal team, especially. I have some thoughts on that, and we can talk when we're offline here. But I'll bug Chief about it and tell him we have a specific need in that area. All right. If that's said, if no one has anything else, we can wrap this up. Okay.
Only confirming that our next meeting will be April 7th, which, if I have that date right, 5:30 p.m.
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it'll be the 7th of April at 5:30, and I will make a note to make sure the invite says that. And Jess, I have no idea why, but it really did come up saying 6:30 here, so that's strange. All right, I think that's it, folks. All right, thank you, and have a very good night.
All right, bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.